I'm doing row 31 of the Honeycomb Twist Knit Super Scarf. Anyway, it starts off with a cable 14 back, which is kind of a pain to do, so I thought it'd be good to show this on a video. You get 7 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you hold those in the back. Then you bring your yarn in front of that work, not through the back. Like I did in my other video, silly me. Then you have to knit 7 stitches here and then knit the stitches over there. So it makes a really big cross. So I kind of squeeze the stitches together to bring that over. Do 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now you have to knit these 7 on the cable needle. So you slide them over to the long end. And that's the point where you're working. The first stitch is going to be really hard. You have to make sure that the stitches are separate to start with, because it's hard to see the difference in these stitches because of the yarn, the roving yarn. It all blends together. So kind of stretch the stitches out a little bit there so you can see where your needle point's going to go. And then you have to sneak it in there. For the very first one is really hard. You wrap, you pull it through. Once you get the first one, it's not so bad. The rest of them go pretty well. I'm a tight knitter, so you might not have quite as much difficulty as I do with that. So after you do the cable 14 back, what it does is it crosses those stitches that you were working on before. And then you bring the yarn forward, and you purl 2, take the yarn back, do a knit 1 through the back loop, and then here's where you're doing your honeycomb. And on this particular row, cable 2 forward, so you bring that forward, knit the next stitch, knit the one you had dropped forward. Some people would want to do these cables without a needle, but I like doing them with a needle. To each his own. Now you do cable 2 back. One reason I like using the needle is it helps me remember when I'm going forward and when I'm going back. I know I just did back, so now I need to go forward. Now I need to go back, because these always go back and forth when you're doing this honeycomb section. So now I'm going forward. Now, go back. I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one. And then do a knit through the back loop. Bring the yarn forward. Purl 2. Take the yarn back. And do a cable 14 forward this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Leave those forward. Your yarn's in the back. And knit these stitches. And then knit the 7 off the cable needle. And once again, this is going to be hard for the first stitch. So be sure to separate those stitches and hold this with your finger so that this stitch doesn't slip off. You have to slide everything close to the points to do the first stitch. After you do the first stitch, it won't be so bad, but that first one is a doozy. But I think it's easier to do the cable 14 back than it is to do the cable 14 forward. But all these 14 cable stitches are difficult with me since I'm a tight knitter. So there's 3 left. That one's not good. I split that one. There we go. 2 left. Always have to work really close to the points on these. And then we have 1 left. Yay. So that was cable 14 forward at the end. And it crosses over to the left. So the crossover at the front went to the right. Then you did your honeycomb. And then you cross over to the left at the end. So this was cable 14 back. That was cable 14 forward. So you can look all through and see how pretty that design is. Makes a nice scarf. And this yarn is so soft. Patons Classic Wool Roving. And I'm using the color Pumpkin. See you later.